What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Q, Quinte, or Quintessential. Whatever you know me as the host of BLK Talk. Guess what? We have an exciting show for you today, so sit back, tune in, and join the conversation.
Hey, everybody. It is your favorite BLK host. It is Q, Quinte, or Quintessential. And I am here with another amazing episode of BLK Talk. Today's special guest is the lovely, the talented, one of Hollywood's secret weapons, I would say, Miss Courtney Ward-Thompkins. Courtney, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm excited.
I am too. I had the opportunity to read your bio, so I was definitely excited about that. And you have a project that recently came out on Netflix that's on my watch list that we'll have the opportunity to share with everybody momentarily. But getting started, let us know a little bit about Miss Courtney Ward-Thompkins.
Well, I have been in the industry for 20 years working in television and film. I have my degree from Clark Atlanta University in business marketing, which is HBCU. Also, after I completed my studies at Clark Atlanta, I studied abroad in China. I studied Chinese language and culture. Ni hao ma. And then I just really, my passion wasn't marketing, it was entertainment. So when I was in college, I met Shanti Das and I started interning at LaFace Records. However, LaFace Records got sold to Arista upon me graduating. So I shifted over to working in music videos. And then from music videos, I went to commercials. And then I worked on my first feature film, which was a Will Packer Productions called The Gospel. Yeah. My friend Sakina Brown, who also graduated from Clark Atlanta University, knew the producer Diane Ashford, who hired me on the show. So that's how I got my start.
Wow. So 20 years in the industry. A lot of people are familiar with you. Some people may not be familiar with you, but you've done some amazing things. And right off the bat, you mentioned some names that I'm very familiar with who have made impacts in the industry. So working with the likes of a Will Packer, working with the likes of a Shanti Das and LaFace Records, and everybody that you've had the opportunity to work with, how has that been for you? And do you often look back at those experiences and just think like, wow, I actually was a part of that?
Yes, it was. Let me tell you, I was a college student, just the help of my parents and family and friends. I was interning and going to school full time. And I met Shanti when I was hanging out. And I keep telling people I was a person who partied with a purpose.
Yes.
I met her at one of the LaFace events and I just told her I was a student and I was interested in interning at LaFace Records. And she told me to contact her and I followed up and I got the opportunity to intern with her in the marketing department. Mm-hmm. So she was a mentor to me. And I say that's very important to people who are coming up in the industry. Find a mentor that can advise you, that has more experience. And it's a give and take, a mentor mentee, you have to give something to the relationship also. And then with Will Packer, when I had the opportunity to work on The Gospel, I expressed to him that I was interested in producing. And he said, just do it. Just start producing. And I mean, if that's just something you're doing on your phone or you have a small budget film or a big budget film, just do it. The thing is to just do it. Just go out there and, find actors who are willing to work with you, grip, camera, electric, DPs, just go out there and do your project because no one's going to believe in you like you believe in you.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Now, that simple bit of encouragement or advice can mean so much or so many different things for so many different people. Now for you, just do it. Just go out and do it. Find this, find that. How did those words coming from a Will Packer, how did those words encourage you and motivate you to get where you are today?
Well, I would first say they were definitely encouraging words, and they helped me push through some very tough times. And it just also, it's inspiring when people that are in a position like that to encourage other people that are coming up in the business, especially brown and Black folk, as I would like to say,
yes.
To give us the opportunity and the insight. And I would just say to people that are starting off in the business or wanting to be in the business, don't be afraid to talk to people and let them know your goals. Like, speak things into existence, exude professionalism, let your hard work show. But also, you have to let people know that you have goals and you have inspiration, so they're aware of where you want to go with your career.
Yes. So with you and your career, you were in music, you're in television, you're in film. What was your original goal, let's say, at the 15-year-old version of you? What was your goal in life? And how did that change over the years?
Well, I always loved entertainment. I will say that. I didn't think that I would go into television and film, to be honest, when I was interning at LaFace. I thought that I was going to get a job at LaFace Records and I was going to be a marketing guru. But it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, even with television and film, they have music supervisors. You know, so I kind of stayed on the path of entertainment, but I just took a little small detour. But it is truly my passion. Like, I truly love television and film. I truly love the power of media. And it was my passion and my purpose.
Yes, there's that passion and purpose again. So when it comes to your recent project, so for those of you out there who have a good Netflix subscription and are looking in the top 10s and new releases and things like that, there's First Kill.
Yes.
And like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet, but it's on my watch list.
I wanted to have spoilers.
I wanted to have this conversation first, so that when I watched it, I gained a new appreciation. And when I saw the credits, I had a new name to look for. So yes. So how did that opportunity to become the production supervisor for this project come about?
Well, the showrunner, her name is Felicia Henderson, which is an African-American woman. She gave me the opportunity to work in the production supervisor role for that show. And it is currently number 3 on Netflix.
Yes. And the United awesome. States, congratulations.
3 in Germany also. So it's doing very, very well. But again, representation, you know, an African-American woman seeing another African-American woman and giving her the opportunity to have that role, which is you're handling the budgeting, you're helping hire the crew, you're also a liaison between the studio and the production, which can have over 200 people. And you're dealing with the cast. You're also dealing with the crew if they have issues or concerns. You're ordering equipment, you're dealing with locations and catering. It's a gamut of things, and it's a lot of responsibility.
I could imagine. So throughout that process, what did you learn about yourself throughout that process of working on First Kill?
I learned that my experience through the years was beneficial to me.
Yes.
Me working as a production secretary, or me working as a PA in the AD department on Stomp the Yard, you know, all those years of experience, those were tools in my tool belt that I used on that show when I was confronted with issues or concerns that a crew or cast member had. I was able to reach in my tool belt and use some of those tools and knowledge from my past experience. And also, I would like to say there's not a lot of African-American women that are in those roles. So it's also important to be professional and educated and knowledgeable about your job.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you got to show up and show out, but in a professional way.
So speaking of which, when it comes to African American women in positions of power, or positions of influence, oftentimes it's said that women have to work a little bit harder to prove themselves. When it comes to the professionalism, when it comes to punctuality, when it comes to a number of things. Did you feel that that pressure was placed upon you to present yourself in a higher light than, other people?
I would say absolutely. Absolutely. I feel when you work with a company like Netflix and you're dealing with studio executives, you're dealing with the production executives, you're dealing with marketing, you're dealing with health and safety. It was during COVID. So you have a lot of responsibility for the cast and the crew, and you can't take that lightly. And I also feel that as a African American woman, we are not given as many opportunities, meaning that we can't really mess up. I hate to say that, but it's true. You really have to dot your I's and cross your T's, kind of think ahead of what might be anticipated or needed for the cast and the crew or the production. If you see things that you feel are not going the way they should be going, you should try to put out that fire before it becomes a huge flame, so to speak. So yes, I will say as an African American woman, you do have more responsibility. And I will say within my role, I'm able to hire other crew members that look like me.
Yes.
So in my career, a lot of times, this is called Black Talk. So we can speak freely about being, African American.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of times when we coming up in the business, I didn't see a lot of head of departments or people that look like me in leadership roles. So if I'm in a leadership role, I like to hire people that look like me that work in my office. So a lot of times if you're going to work with me, you're going to see, a predominantly African American office.
I love that. And to have that, I would say that power, like how does that make you feel? And what are the conversations, I guess, with your group of friends and things like that when it comes to, being that person of power and being respected at that?
Well, I would say this, a lot of times, like my crew that I've worked with them on a few shows. So I have a strong rapport with them. We have a good work dynamic. Within my community of other African American women, I would say we definitely support each other. In Atlanta, it's a very, very small community.
Yeah.
So sometimes we might call each other and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or do you know where I can get this piece of equipment? Or do you know any crew members I can, work on for this show that I can call and hire? It's a very, very small community. It's a very tight-knit community. But I will say the Atlanta market is growing extremely fast. And still, you don't see a lot of African Americans in head of department roles. We call them HOD roles on television and film, especially big feature films and television episodics. So I feel like that's the area that we need to grow in and also present more opportunities. That's why I'm giving a seminar in a couple weeks on July 16th at Roger Bob's studio, because I want to train, other brown and Black people to work in production. Because if you don't have the experience, they're not going to hire you.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're just not, because they want someone who could come into a position and kind of hit the ground running. A lot of times with these shows, they don't have a lot of time to train you. They just don't. And if you have that experience, if you have that knowledge, you're going to get hired over someone else who doesn't.
So somebody just has to be willing to give you that chance to gain the knowledge. So therefore you're qualified to be picked up for other positions. I like that. So when it comes to representation, we all know that representation is important all the way around, in front of the screen. But since you're more so behind the scenes, how important and why is representation important behind the scenes as well?
It's important because this is actually it's still a business. You know,
Mhm.
it's a huge money making business. With Georgia having this 30% tax incentive, it's very alluring to big corporations to bring their television and film projects here. So we definitely have to work as a community to help each other out.
Mhm.
And I would say with this, sharing information. I know a lot of people want to share their connections, but sharing
Mhm.
connections, you know, referring people to jobs, it's just all that is important. It plays a big role. And there's a lot of nepotism
Mhm.
in this business. You'll see, you know, people hiring their wife or husband or cousin or, you know, um, so that's also important. Like if you have friends and family, you know, get them on a project and look out for them, you know, hire them, give them that opportunity also. I mean, it's just a part of this business.
Yeah. So you said you have a seminar coming up in about a week, actually. So about a week or so, you have
Yeah.
a seminar coming up. So first of all, what birthed the idea for the seminar, and what can people expect from it?
Well, what birthed the idea is it was needed.
Mhm.
Just working in production for the past 20 years, I just see a lot of people that aren't trained. And then also, maybe a few years ago, a couple of my friends and I, we actually spoke at a seminar at Clark Atlanta University. And I was surprised at some of the students at Clark Atlanta and Morehouse that didn't even know what a call sheet was
Mm.
or how to read a call sheet. And that's
Mhm.
kind of like the basic thing that comes out every day that tells you, you know, what time is your call time, where you need to be on set, what's being shot in the script, um, how many actors are working that day, the background. You know, it's just a gamut of information that's needed. Even though it's just one document, it's very important.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like why I was thinking it was needed, because I was hiring people that didn't know like the basic documents that they used that you need to get to work, you know,
Mhm.
and work every day. So I talked to some of my friends in the industry. I have some producers, assistant directors, UPMs, another coordinator that's coming to speak in the class to just kind of tell about the importance of the production office and what an intricate part it is of the entire production, and how we deal with the cast and the crew, um, putting information out into the cast and the crew, also learning about invoicing, budgeting, all the things that you need to run a successful production.
Wow. How excited are you about this? And is this gonna be the first one?
This is the
Like the only, I mean.
this is the first. Like I was talking to one of my friends, and I think I can say his name. His name's Lamont Rucker. He's an actor. And I was telling him, I was like, I'm giving this seminar. And we were talking about like SAG after contracts, and production deals with the SAG after contracts. They give them to the actors. And we were talking about like, oh, you got to fill out the start paperwork and this and that. And he was telling me, even as an actor, he was like, this is so needed because all that
Mhm.
information is given to actors through the production office.
Mhm.
And just as I'm talking to producers and other people, they were just like, this is so needed. And he was like, oh, I might be a part of it next time you give your seminar, because he's on a
Mhm.
show in another state right now. But a lot of people I was talking to were saying, this is so needed. Like, we need to train people to work in production and what an intricate part it is of the entire production of what you see when you're sitting there, Netflix and chilling.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see all the things that go on behind the scenes to put this show together.
You know, I can tell just by looking in your background that you enjoy art. I'm gonna say it's safe to say that you enjoy art, correct?
Yes.
Good. So th- there is there's a painting that a lot of people very familiar with. It's one hand reaching up and one hand coming down. Now that's what I'm hearing when I, hear about your seminar. But what does a painting like that? What does that vision mean to you?
It means that we're uplifting each other, that we're guiding each other, that it's almost like that saying, "You are my brother's keeper."
Mm,
That we're looking out for each other, and that we're loving each other and empowering each other, which is extremely important. And if one thing I will say is just like always do something with a purpose.
hmm
You know, I felt like this is my passion and this is my purpose. That's why I wanted to do it. But I also felt like it was needed to have this seminar. But I hate to keep saying that, but it is truly like that's what drives me, because I want to
mm,
share the knowledge that I have. And even with the crew, when I work on a show, I'm always giving them a little bit of information, sharing my knowledge, guiding them. Even the unspoken things, you know, that go on in a production, just how you carry yourself, as little nuances, how you deal with other departments. All those little things are important, and that's the type of information I also want to share. Things
absolutely.
that aren't
Now,
in the production manual, you know?
real everyday things that you have to learn. Now,
Correct.
when it comes to Courtney Ward-Thompkins and everything that you've accomplished, what are you most proud of? And what is something that you feel like you haven't accomplished yet, but you have on your list to accomplish?
Well, what I do want to accomplish, I want to produce a big budget feature film.
Mm,
And
okay.
big budget meaning like over 30 million.
Oh, ooh,
Um, I am very thankful for, of course, like my family and my friends, and just the opportunities that I'm given in this business. Um, I've met so many people that I've known, gosh, for 20 years, just like for like Diane Ashford and Will Packer and my friend Sakina, who's a costume designer. I have another friend who's a transpo coordinator. Um, there's so many people that still work in this business that I've known throughout the years, that I have nurtured. I would say
mm,
nurtured those relationships, but they've nurtured relationships with me too. We're not, you know, we don't talk every day, but I would say that's important, maintaining relationships, nurturing relationships. Um, that's extremely important, because sometimes it's not what people see on a resume.
mhm.
Um, they'll call, you know, and check a reference and say, "Hey, would you hire this person?" And they might say, "Oh, yeah, I would hire this person." They'll say, you know, they'll say great things about you. But some people will also say, "Well, I think you should keep looking."
Yeah, and that speaks volumes.
You know, it's just, you have to always carry yourself in a professional way, always be willing to help each other, always nurture relationships. Um, those things to me that are not in a production manual are also important things. You know, treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is some of the best advice that you feel that you can share? Because you've given some good tips, some great tips throughout the course of this conversation. But what is some of the best advice that you feel you can share with somebody who is looking at the industry? They don't know how to get in the industry, and they don't know exactly where their talent would be best used. What kind of advice would you give to them?
I personally interned. Um, I think internships are important. My personal advice would be, don't give up. Um, if you can get the opportunity to work in entry level positions, whether it be like the camera department, the AD department, art department, production, try to get in on an entry level position. Again, relationships are extremely important.
Mhm.
Um, like I've worked at Tyler Perry Studios, like I even have relationships over there that I've maintained for, you know, almost 20 years.
Mhm.
You know, just express to people what you want to do with your career. And if you don't know, say, I want to spend some time in this department and see what this person does. Um, that would be my advice to someone that's starting in the business. Also find a mentor. That's extremely important. I have a mentor. Actually, I have a couple of mentors. And don't ever give up. Like if people say, oh, I've actually had people say, oh, you can't work in television and film. You have to choose one. You can't do both. You know, I had someone say that to me before, and I have done both. I've worked on a feature film Little. I've worked on an episodic like Netflix First Kill, you know, which is a feature film and episodics. I've been able to do both. Don't let people tell you you can't do anything. You could do anything you set your mind to.
Successfully at that.
Successfully, yes. And if someone tells you that, be like, thank you. You know, I appreciate it. So keep moving with your goals and aspirations.
I love it.
Nice, yes.
Courtney, I appreciate you so much, and I am so excited for everything that you are going to accomplish. You might see my face pop up at your seminar next week. I'm looking at my schedule now, so I actually might come and see what you have going on. So that would be amazing. So I wish you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
For actors, because I did meet an actor the other day, and even though this is not like my wheelhouse, but I was talking to some casting people like George Pierre and Tasha Ward, and they were saying for actors that are wanting to get into the business to start taking acting classes and get an agent.
So is there such thing as too early to get an agent or get into an acting class?
Well, no, you should just start, you know, doing acting classes. I would say, you know, look for an agent, and also like background work. Like people, you know, they don't want to do the background work, but I've been on shows where background have gotten bumped up to speaking parts. You know, and they after, you know, they might not be in SAG, but we have to Taft-Hartley them. That's through SAG. You have to be a SAG member, but it also gives you an opportunity to be seen and have a speaking part in a television or feature film role. So even if you have an opportunity to be a background actor, you should do that also.
So how can people get connected with background acting?
Well, there is Heather Hilton casting. She does background. George Pierre does extra and local casting. They should just look for local casting companies here in Atlanta. Those are also opportunities that you can look into to get seen in front of the camera.
Okay. I'll definitely make sure, because I have quite a few friends who are interested in acting and are currently acting. So I'm not sure if they know about that, but I will definitely share this information with them.
Yes.
So thank you for that. And how can people stay connected with you and everything that you have coming up? And also, how can they register for the seminar?
Well, the seminar is on eventbrite.com, and you just go behind the scenes with Courtney Ward-Thompkins in television and film. It's Saturday, July 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Bobcat Studios. And then you can stay connected with me on Instagram at Avala Productions. That's AVALA Productions on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely. Courtney, I thank you so very much. And like I said, I hope to meet you next week at the seminar. And if you need anything, anytime you need to come and make an announcement or have a conversation about anything that you have going on, you're definitely welcome back on BLK Talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And you have an amazing, amazing day. And I will chat with you soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.